Countdown. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome one and all to the comic book showdown of Ultimate Destiny. My name is Matt Campbell, creator of Mythica and owner of Action Line Studios. And today we're going to be looking at 3 different indie comics and choosing one to support. And with me is Smurf. Smurf, introduce yourself.
I am Smurf. Every time I want to do the comic book showdown of Ultimate Destiny, I think we need like lightning. You know, like the Highlander, there can be only one. As we go through the amazing Kickstarters, I am Smurf, 5280 Geek, purveyor of all that is geeky, a podcast, Ghostbuster, pool player, and hockey enthusiast.
Indeed. And our hockey team is doing very well this year.
Let's not. They made it to the playoffs. They blew the last 3 games, but they rallied in the last game. They play tonight at home, so it should be very, very, very exciting.
Well, I will say I do get them confused because we've also got the Nuggets playing, and they're in the playoffs and going back and forth, trying to keep track of who's doing what. Definitely can get confusing sometimes.
It's wild. I mean, it's a wild time for sports here. And then we don't even know what about the Broncos, and let's face it, the Rockies.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, though, if you're ever in Colorado, like everybody wants to go watch a Rockies game and go to Coors Field. It is a great place to go see a game. It is like the biggest pub on the planet, and everybody has a good time, but they just don't really win. It's almost like watching the Globetrotters. Or there's actually a baseball team that my girlfriend really wants to go see, but they're hard to get tickets for because they sell out almost instantly. And they're kind of like the Globetrotters of baseball. Sometimes they're out there in kilts and dancing around and having a good time, and I would love to go see that show.
I would do that. I mean, there's something to be said, and this is probably just a kid in me. A day at the park, going out, enjoying. It's entirely different. It's like it's something you have to do in person. You can't watch it on TV, just like golf. Actually, you shouldn't watch golf at all. But I mean, there's something nostalgic about going to the ballpark, having the big hot dog, the foam finger, getting the ball signed during warm-ups. I mean, that was a thing, So I totally get it.
Well, what's been going on this week? What's new in the geeky world that you've got to share on 5280 or your podcast?
Well, there's like some wild stuff going on. Of course, everyone is talking about Fallout, how great of a series that is, and I have to agree that they finally got the formula right. I
still haven't got to watch it yet.
they still. Everyone, and you know what? I love the fact that now not only the fans are talking about it, but the non-fans. So when you can start crossing genres like that, people that played the game ages ago now are picking up the games, like all of them, all 5, and playing them and doing the walkthroughs. And now there's speculation of, okay, they're going to Vegas. So when in the timeline is this? And it's now creating some fun comic chat, if you will. So it's good to see. This week it's Heroes Weekend. So we were at a school yesterday as Ghostbusters doing Heroes Day. So Cat for Kids was there, the fire department, EMS, State Patrol, the military. It was a fun outing for grade schoolers to middle school. So that was fun and interactive. Got a little sun, as you can see,
Nice. I could use some more of that myself. I'm looking kind of pale. I'm
pasty,
starting to blend in with the wall in the background.
Yes. The pasty, English complexion right there just coming through.
Yes, my Scottish roots are showing.
And next week is Free Comic Book Day. Am I not? Am I? I mean, that is big.
You're right.
That is a big day to be celebrating all that is geeky. I'm sure your local comic book shop will have free books to hand out, but it
Yeah,
is.
just about. I mean, it's every comic book shop pretty much around the country, and most of them have local artists set up. So it's a great time to go meet some of your local artists. I'm going to be set up at one in Denver at Mutiny Cafe.
Yep, Mutiny's actually been a sponsor of the podcast and Munch Madness, and we love the crew over at Mutiny.
Yeah, in fact, that's one of the things I've gotten behind on. I really I got their logo so that I could put together some promotional materials promoting me being at the show and Free Comic Book Day, and it's just been a busy week because for me, our college courses all end next week. Thursday is the last day. So, and it snuck up on me. I was off schedule, and it turned out a lot of the other teachers were too. We thought we had, some time into next week. And that's because we got off on the wrong foot on the very first day of school. We had a snow day. And so it kind of like set everything off kilter. And then, I've got to catch up on grading because next weekend, as we just said, I'm going to be doing Free Comic Book Day, and then they're going to want grades by like Monday or Tuesday. And so this coming week, I've got to, get everything wrapped up with school, get everything graded, while at the same time getting prepared and promoting and getting ready to do Free Comic Book Day, which is also May the 4th be with you. So I'm trying to make sure I have some Star Wars stuff, and I'd love to have something to give away. So I'm trying to get that stuff together. And at the same time, I also have a Kickstarter I'm trying to build and get that done. And I'm overseeing the colorist who's working on pages, and I'm wrapping up drawing a couple pages myself. And I've got a guy helping me on Kickstarter. So I've got too many plates spinning right now. And so I'm actually looking maybe to have someone come in and help me do some of the marketing and the social media stuff for at least a little while, so I can have a little bit of reprieve, but
a little bit of a breather. So let me ask you a question. As a comic book creator, how important do you think it is to be plugged into your local comic book shop or interact on those levels, like Free Comic Book Day or big signings? Is that vital, do you think, to the success of a Kickstarter or doing your own comic book or things like that?
I think it depends on whether or not you want to have a strong local following, or if you're just marketing to the internet. My strategy has been to make sure I have a strong local following, and I've worked to try and with your help to put Mythica in as many of the local comic shops as possible. Because as an indie creator, you're not generally in national distribution with Diamond or anything, so you got to do things yourself. And putting your comic in a store and having it sit on the shelves, when people, and I've had multiple people say this, they'll walk by and they're like, "Oh, I saw your book in the store." It gives it a lot of legitimacy when your comic's sitting right next to Batman. And it also helps with brand recognition. So when my comic's sitting in a shop, people see it, even if they don't buy it. Later on, when I do an event like Free Comic Book Day or something bigger like the Fan Expo, people walk by and they see the name and they remember it, and they're like, "Oh, I saw that in the store." And so it's just one more way to get that brand recognition. And I think that's something that a lot of creators don't understand about comics, is that it is a business, it's a brand, and a brand takes time to build.
Very true. You gotta stay true to the branding. You can't waver. You may have your moments of doubts and those darker times, because I know plenty of creatives that go home and beat themselves up like, "God, this isn't working. Nobody's seeing it. I need to change everything." No, Hold
Yes.
to your guns. Stay true to your branding. It will. That's your strength. Don't give up. Don't give up.
Exactly. And the thing is, like, it takes time. It's a marathon, not a sprint. I think a lot of people's challenge when they get to Kickstarter. I was in a chat the other day and people were talking about, hey, does that? I hear it clicking when I talk. I don't know if it's my speaker or what, microphone. But anyway, when they make a Kickstarter, they'll say in this chat, like, does the fear, the nervousness, and the anxiety of whether or not you're going to hit your goal ever go away? And I felt that the very first campaign for about 2 days, because that's how long it took. And the reason for that is that I came to Kickstarter with a following. I put my comic book out there on the internet one page at a time when I first started. We used to call it Mythica Monday. And by the time I went to my first event, my first comic convention with Mythica, people were coming up to the table and already knew about it. And that's kind of the way you want to approach Kickstarter or any other, campaign, is that you have to have been cultivating and building a brand on this thing and bring those people to Kickstarter. Otherwise, you're just relying on whatever you can do to market during the Kickstarter and hoping some people on Kickstarter see it. And then, you're going to be nervous because you don't know. Whereas every time I do a Kickstarter, I pull out my email list and I have 500 to 1,000 names on it. I know I'm going to reach at least, a third of those. And so I already have a good padding and comfort zone that I'm going to hit my goals. So I do, to the original question, I do think it's important that you use local if you can to build up your following.
Nope, agreed. Agreed. So
all right,
let's get building your following. Who do we have on the Wheel of Destiny?
That's right. Let's get into it. So today, again, we're going to have a lot of names on here. I was just looking to see. I think someone last second has tried to jump in. So let me make sure their campaign is live.
Yep. Make sure. Because last week, the one that you and I loved, which hit their goal, had finished just as we had gone through reviewing and kind of looking it over, which again,
bad
wabbit. I mean,
yes, I think what happened was that I had looked at it previously earlier in the day or something,
right?
And then when I went back to it, I don't think it had refreshed or something.
That happens. And
so then, as soon as we started clicking on it, moving around, it auto refreshed, and I was like, oh, this is already over.
Oopsies.
Okay, so I did just add a new one from Paul Stokes called the Wolf Peach Horror Classics, which I think tried to enter last week. So let me hit this button right here. There we go, to share our thing there. So we've got the Politicron, A Vexing Reunion, Tales from Nocturna, Marks, A Tale of Survival, which, again, I really love when they kind of throw in a little bit about the story right in the title.
Mm-hmm.
Olivia the Mighty Kraken, Call of the Totem #1, Mercer #1, The Legacy of Jupiter Man, Awakening, and Wolf Peach Horror Classics.
Oh.
Yeah, some horror stuff.
It's a heavy horror this week. I like that.
I know.
That's how I started with comics. I mean, that's some bread and butter right there.
I know. In case you guys didn't catch on, Smurf is heavily part of the Colorado Festival of Horror. And so if you're interested in being involved in that, be sure and check that out on Facebook. All right, let's give this a spin and see who's up first. Dun, 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 dun. And it looks like it's going to stop eventually. There goes the fourth guy. All right. let me pull that one up real fast. I want to have these ready to go. There we go. Open link in a new tab. All right. So, congratulations to the Politicron. Destiny has chose you to be in this week's show. Let's go on to the next one. Wheel spinning. And all right, Mercer, if you want. Looks like I think this is like the second or third time Mercer's trying to get into the top 3. So
he has. He's been anxiously awaiting his wheel. His wheel of destiny is here.
It is. So congratulations, Mercer, issue 1. Can you hear that little background music?
Boom, yeah, boom, boom. It's a nice little music bed. I'm getting my groove on.
Yeah, I got it in the background there. And again, we talked about this last week. You got to have your music down low enough that people can actually talk over it comfortably.
Mm-hmm. That is a key. No one really gets that. They're like, no, the music needs to be louder. No, it doesn't.
All right, next up, last one. Who's it going to be? Looks like Call of the Totem #1.
All right.
Congratulations.
I'm excited to review that one. I like the name. I mean, nothing beats Politicron, but I'm I just like because Unicron versus Politicron.
Yeah, definitely what it sounds like for sure. All right, so let me switch the screens because last week we found out that I need to share one tab at a time in order to get audio.
Tab at a time.
Yeah, we learn as we go around here.
Yeah, it's a learning curve for all of us.
All right, so let's start out right out of the gate with Politicron. There we go.
Okay.
All right, so the title says Politicron, a vexing reunion #1, a survival action comic. Despite the lack of good combat skills, a new entrepreneur is selected to compete in a fight tournament for life-changing prize money. Looks like they've hit their goal already with 21 days to go. Congratulations.
Well done.
To you guys. All right, let's take a look at the video here.
Welcome to the Mythica.
Sometimes in life, running away seems like the best way to deal with your problems. And if you're like me, that's all you know. But there comes a time where there's nowhere left to run, and you must confront the challenge, even if the odds are stacked against you, and completely knock you out. Life has always had a peculiar way of showing you the lessons you need to learn. Of course, it's up to you whether or not you're going to listen.
Hey, listen, thank you so much for visiting this page today. My name is Jonathan Underwood, and I am the writer, the creator, and the illustrator for the Politicron of Vexing Reunion. So let's jump right into it. What exactly is this story about? This story is centered around a guy by the name of Jordan Watson. Jordan is an entrepreneur who is in the fitness aerobic industry in Greenville, South Carolina. He was doing pretty well for himself, sustaining his business until the pandemic hit. Unfortunately for Jordan, he had no savings cushions due to his bad habits with money. Out of both desperation and foolish judgment, Jordan enters himself to be selected to participate in a deadly competition based on strategy and combat for prize money, known as the Politicron. In the competition, humans face off against...
I'm going to pause right here for just a second because this has got another minute to go.
Oh, wow.
I want to see where you were at with it and if you want to see more.
No.
Okay.
I'm fine, and I like the touch at the end, the personal touch, but I think we kind of got the establishment in the beginning, and for him to reiterate and make it go longer is unnecessary.
Yeah, I think that maybe an introduction at the beginning of, hey, this is me and this is my comic, to give that little bit of personal touch. But then I thought, I did a pretty good job of explaining like the premise. They talk about. I do feel like there could have been a bit more clarity. Like at the beginning, he talks about, have you ever? I forget what he says. I know he's got subtitles on here.
Yeah, make bad decisions or something.
Yeah. Or like running away from
Right.
problems and stuff.
Mhm.
And so I think he's trying to set that up. So I think he's got some good stuff here.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't think he needs to drill into it any further. I think a quick setup of an introduction, and this is the story. And I mean, I would cut it off right after he says what it is and why everything is going on, and then roll the video. But I wouldn't go into it any further.
Yeah. Now I think one of the things that you want to break down when it comes to a pitch of your story is he's kind of like padding it at the beginning with sometimes in life you want to run away from things and that kind of stuff, and it's good, but it's like this slower setup of what is the point, what is happening in the story. And what we as viewers generally need to know right away is, what's the person trying to achieve?
Yep.
In this case, like, it seems like he needs some money, but why? We don't care until we know the why. So if he's like, I need to raise money because, my mom has cancer and I can't afford to pay for it. Well, now we have an empathetic attachment.
Mm-hmm.
And then you put in what's standing in their way. Well, now he's going to enter this contest to try and get some money, but he has no idea how to fight. Well, now I'm left with the question, well, gosh, how is he going to succeed? And now I'm hooked. Now I have a reason to be interested. And so I think it's all there. All those components are in this video, but they're just a little bit like crisscrossed and out of place.
Yeah, it's out of order, and editing is everything. And typically, and this is something industry-wide, you approach everything like you've got 30 seconds. You're in an elevator with the man that makes the decisions. You have 30 seconds. You have an elevator ride worth of time to pitch your idea. And you want to be as concise and informative as possible while getting across everything else. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but 30 seconds is a long time when you're doing a pitch and you're talking and you're trying to put things together. So that's usually, like I said, that's industry standard. That is what I have taught people. I know that's what Matt has taught people. And it's important that you keep that in mind when you're putting your video and your editing together for these particular things.
Yeah. I mean, all in all, I think he's got a great premise here. I think he's got a great story. I think, there's enough here to go whether or not, he's going to succeed. I think when I look at the artwork, honestly, I feel like that to me, like, is probably if on my I guess I can't open that in a new tab. I'm only looking at one tab at a time, Matt.
Only one tab at a time.
But looking at these, I see that like it's pretty good art. He's using a lot of background elements. It's not my favorite in the style, but I remember when I was watching the video, I was like, you've got kind of like pretty okay art in my personal feeling, mixed with some like pretty good knowledge of video editing.
Yeah, I mean, the video editing is actually, I would almost guess that he is an animator as far as like a day job. I love the use of colors. And one of the other things when you go to like portfolio reviews, and I know Jim Shooter and a lot of other people would emphasize this, of like, your backgrounds are key. And I love the use of those backgrounds in this. It has a very Warner's style of art to it, in my opinion. I mean, I can, like, I remember like the WB used to have like Static Shock and, some of the other cartoons back in the day, and I can see a similarity in style, and I like that. But yeah, use of backgrounds is always important because it sets the environment and it sets the tone. And I like this. I like the style. And like the panel and all that use of like negative space to
Yeah,
that is
that was
great.
a good.
That is brilliant right there. That's brilliant storytelling.
Yeah, that's good, and it doesn't really like require, like that's something I also talk to my students about. Is like when you're making pages, like if you establish a couple of really good, strong environments, let us know where we're at, pour in the detail. Then you can have shots like this, and the focus is on the moment, on this punch, and we're not distracted by anything else. And I thought this was really great use of color to like get our attention.
Yep.
Well,
and it's an emphasize of the action. This is important. You're not distracted by everything that's going on. We already know where we're at, and that's an amazing use of, like I said, storytelling and just this is important. And this guy just gets the shit knocked out of him. I love it. I think that was great. I think his storytelling is very good.
All right, so Jonathan, good job. We're gonna hold on this one now and then go check out the next one, which is looking like the Call of the Totem. So let me change that tab out. Let's see what do I do? There we go. We're gonna go to Call of the Totem.
Call.
And right away, like the imagery seems to fit the title.
Oh wow, yeah.
That
is wild environment. That is wow. I like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of background. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of perspective and proportion. Really exciting cover shot.
Yeah, that's impressive. I like that.
Yeah, so it says, Tale of Awakening, the story of a young boy who must embark on a dangerous journey through an alternate dimension and the father that can't let him go. So again, like in a sentence, I've got a character who's got to go do something and at least one thing standing in their way, which is the father that doesn't want to let them go, and an emotional connection between father and son. So there's enough here to be intrigued. And then going down, we can see that they're going for 2,400 and they're well on their way with 18 days to go. So let's take a look at this video. Nice shot.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
What did you think of the video?
I like it and I don't.
All right, elaborate.
So, I mean, and this is something that we have discussed on previous views. The use of text versus dialogue. I like some of it, and the pacing is good. But again, you have to be completely focused on this. And the story kind of wigwags. I'm like, so 1,400 years and then 4 years. And I mean, okay, so what kind of...
Yeah, I heard 1,413.
Yeah, there's some convoluted kind of facts so that a person reading it would be kind of like, well, wait. And the pacing is good, but it's too good, because they're like, well, what was that? And, unless they slow down, they've got to kind of slow it up because I think you could do both, like we have discussed, where you can have dialogue kind of, in a time, like you did the movie trailer, 1,400 years ago.
Hire Smurf to do your audio for you.
Absolutely. I am absolutely available for hire. But I mean, like, if you did like the movie phone guy, hey, 1,400 years ago, the totem wreaked havoc on this small little village. But that doesn't matter because 4 years ago they took his family. So I mean, there's some opportunities here. I like the pitch and I like the premise, and I'm very excited to see what happens. The artwork and the action panels that I saw were good. I mean, the
right
colors.
Here.
Yeah, Jesus, that is gorgeous. I mean, just the shading, the backgrounds, even the use of lights, it's correct. Which usually when you're dealing with something like this focused, the light source is usually off. But I mean, this is just laid out in such a beautiful fashion that I want more of this and less of the text.
Yes. I really like this coloring, and I would be interested. I want to dig in a little bit and see who this colorist is, because one of the things that I strive for with Mythica, which sometimes we hit on the mark, sometimes we don't, is a coloring style that's still vibrant and colorful and easy to see, but also feels a little muted and grounded in reality and not oversaturated superhero colors. Right. And we're looking at this. This is like spot on, what I tend to shoot for with Mythica. And so I love how it's really tricky because like you have to make all the colors still work, but you're eliminating like a lot of the bright colors.
Right.
And so it takes a good knowledge of color. I think this is beautiful. I want to say, like, again, same as Smurf, I feel like having words instead of talking, which I get, some people don't feel comfortable talking. I struggle with it on recordings for some reason. But a single sentence like this is pretty okay for reading. But when you get into 2 and then later 3 sentences, it starts to feel like I'm having to work for this, Yep. And because I feel like there's a pressure, there's an anxiety of like, I need to hurry up and read this before it changes, even though he did a pretty good job of leaving it on the screen long enough to read it. There's still that feeling, and then I'm trying to think through it and process. Like, okay, Tarjung must return to the village that banished him. All right, got it. And then I see this, and I'm just captivated by it, and I'm watching this. But in my brain, I'm like, is that Tarjun? Is that Tarjun? I'm not really sure. And then there's more reading, and so like one of the things I think that would help is one, have a sentence at a time, and then it's also going to give more movement to your video. If I read and finds a totem, and then or that has chosen his son, it's going to be broken up a little bit faster paced, and I don't feel like I have to read as much. But the other thing you can consider is in a full screen here, you've got a lot of space to put some of that text. So we could be enjoying this art slowly kind of moving across the screen while a sentence of text comes up, and connect these two things, and so
because that final splash page, I was like, wow. So if you still have your viewer by the time that huge splash page comes up with all of the information and all that, it's too much too late, and it's just.
Which splash page are you talking about?
That final one that has like all of their information and all of that. And it's like way at the end there. Boom. That's like, whoa, okay, hold on. So now I have to like stop and read, all of that. Where that is a simple dialogue that you could have with those variant covers if you already have them available. So I mean,
yeah, you can put that down below, and also understand that the planet's a very big place. The comic world, even though it's a small sliver, it's still a pretty big place. I'm pretty heavily steeped in the comic community as well as the indie comic community, and I only know 1, maybe 2 of those names.
Yeah,
right?
That's
and so most people aren't going to know these people right offhand anyway, unless you got somebody really big. Like last campaign, I had Jim Lee's colorist, Alex Sinclair, doing the covers on my book. And so I made a point of like mentioning his name because he's pretty big, you know. But for the most part, like this is information we can see down below.
Yeah, even just put the covers up there with their names underneath it. I think that would be a better use of that text.
Yeah,
as well
absolutely.
As if you eliminate all of the other text and use the visuals to represent, then I think that's better. But yeah, the action scenes and all that, especially the tight panoramic on his eyes, that was great. I loved that.
Let's see.
Yeah, that again, I mean, perfect use of colors. That's gorgeous.
Trying to find that shot you're talking about. I'm not finding it.
Keep going, keep going, keep going.
This looks like Fathom.
Yeah, that very, very Turner-esque.
There it is.
There it is. See, and like again, the intent that's relayed to everything is just amazing. I mean, especially when you look at like the rain and all that, you can see the intensity.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I think here is you got this is the opening card, so it's not actually on the video.
Okay.
And so then you have this coming in, and so you've got 7 seconds before we actually see artwork. Then you've got our first shot of this sort of emotional but yet stagnant moment. And then we get this badass shot.
Yeah.
God, put this sooner.
I mean, it's worth the payoff, but yeah, 7 seconds, that's an eternity. I mean,
now we're at 15 seconds before we actually got to this badass frame.
and
right?
I mean, if this doesn't play off of Politicron's message that we said, editing is everything. I mean,
Yeah.
it's great. It's just out of sequence. What's your focus? What are we trying to relay from a marketing and a branding? Because I think this should be a cover. That is some of the
Well,
best.
if this is any indication of the rest of the book art, I'm definitely intrigued to want to look at it. Look at this catchphrase right here. They will not take my son. That's one you should have used in your trailer too.
That should be, actually, that should be the opening line.
Yeah,
Forget 1400 years. Forget all the rest of the stuff that you can put at the bottom or put as a hype. That's your tagline. That is the opener. They will not take my son. And even if they had that underneath as like a dialogue or a thought bubble or just something with that a tight pose, oh my God. Boom,
yeah, I mean, I feel like this person has got all the pieces here together, just like a little bit of editing. And this is why people that like most big projects have editors.
Yeah.
People who have experience in that particular field and know, what's going to work, what's needed. And so even if you're a small indie comic, if you can either afford an editor that's got some experience or at least, run it by some people who have some more experience, it's definitely gonna help.
Mm-hmm.
This is a beautiful cover here.
Again, the colors, the background, I mean, all of this, the lighting source is great. Everything, they're doing a lot of right here. I will be disappointed if this does not fund, because this is a beautiful looking book. This should be on a shelf in stores without question.
Yeah, this is like definitely top-notch art and coloring. I don't know if it's the same person. Take a quick glance. I know somewhere they had the listing of who did it. There we go.
That page right there, go back up. That page right there, that should actually be in the slide with all of the different covers. So where we're talking about, you have the splash page of names, this is what should be in place of that slide.
Mm-hmm.
This is much more informative and eye-catching because everyone's going to be wondering what those covers are and do I want to do it? Do I not want to do this? This needs to be in that slide presentation.
Also, too, guys, like there's a you want movement, like the lettering coming up that's just reading. That's the other thing is that like for however many seconds that it takes to read that text, we're staring at a stagnant still page. And so like, you know, if there's less words, you can kind of animate some of the words in. But with this, you could have, you know, a slow scroll of all these artwork going up and then showing the name and then showing the next one. And you would have movement in your video while still communicating what you're trying to show. I think that you're right. That would be a huge thing. But JJ,
that would have been a huge time saver right there, because I already know putting in that text, editing it, framing it, and then animating it for the 3 to 5 seconds that it's there. You just throw that in, extend the timeline, and you're done. So way easier and more efficient on your time. Yeah.
Absolutely. So this is the artist, JJ. I don't know if it's Villalba or Villalba. I don't know. Because sometimes the double L's are pronounced with a Y. Not really sure.
It's not a podcast unless I mutilate your name. So Villa. I'm just kidding. I'm not making fun of your name. It's a beautiful name. You're a beautiful artist. Just keep doing what you're doing, because dude, you're on point. Jeez.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I'm taking note of this because I'm always on the lookout for artists and colorers for part of my team, and so I've this person's grabbed my interest, and so whether we back it or not, just know this. That brings us to our last one. The person who has tried a couple weeks in a row to be in the selected 3 and has finally made it. Mercer number 1. So we're gonna stop that screen share and get our last one here. Let's see, where's it at? Mercer issue 1. There we go.
This week is tough.
Yeah, these first 2 are like really close. So we'll see what Mercer's bringing for us.
All right, Mercer, you're up on deck. We've got. I like the retro kind of 20s style cover. That's cool.
Yeah. Let's see. Mercer issue 1. In a world of demons in human form, Nathan Mercer does all he can to fight the forces of evil while keeping his own demons at bay. By the description, it sounds like a one-man supernatural.
So I was going to say Constantine.
Or Constantine. There you go.
Very, very Constantine-ish, which I mean, love the series. Little Hellblazer.
Written by Jason Seibel, who I feel like I definitely know that name. I know I'm friends with
that name. Yes.
Pencils and Inks by Raphael. All right.
Have they hit goal? They're already pretty high on their.
Yeah, they've exceeded goal by almost $1,000 with 3 days to go. So,
okay.
Some people are interested. The other thing I look for is the numbers. On one of the last ones we looked at, I think it was Politicron. They had a goal of 750 and they'd already passed it. But one of the backers was like a $500 backer. And that's great. I recommend you guys put those high tiers in your campaign, because whether it's a friend or a family member, or in one case I had somebody in Australia that I had no idea who they were who got one of my high-end backing things. But it also gives you an idea of, like, if you've got a bunch of small people backing, that means you've intrigued a lot more people, or that you have a stronger following, and that there's a better chance you're going to be able to keep going. When you have a campaign and only one person really helped, get it over the finish line with a huge backing, you still need to do a lot of work to like get more following.
Yeah, you need saturation.
So here we've got 47 backers, 3 days to go. It's already hit goal. Let's take a look at Mercer issue 1's trailer. I like the fact that it was short and sweet and to the point.
Yep. Wow. I would almost. I mean, you had my attention at the end with the sacrifice and all of that. That was cool. But yeah, I mean, it was short, sweet, and definitely to the point. I almost think it was too quick.
Well, there's not really a lot about what the goal is, what the story is. Something that
I left wandering.
Yeah, something that I have had to try and learn how to get better at and master over the years is I started off Mythica right out of the gate knowing I wanted to make it an ongoing series. And a lot of my promotion at the beginning promoted the series. It was check out Mythica. It's an epic tale of awesomeness, whatever you want to say, right? And over the years, I've learned that I have to focus on the individual story being told. If it's an ongoing series, and that means each individual issue should have something to offer.
Correct.
And because what I've found, especially on Kickstarter, is if you try to promote an ongoing series every time, and you get to like issue 9 where I'm at, and they're like, so this is all ongoing, and I am only going to get slices of it, and none of it's going to make sense unless I get the whole thing. It's a lot harder to market that way.
Yep.
And so I feel like there's a little bit of that. But he did do some great things, though. Like going back to the lettering I was talking about last time, animating the lettering so it's moving, something interesting to look at. Mm-hmm. Here we got it fading in. There's this image is animated and moving instead of just stagnantly sitting there. Mm-hmm. This shouldn't be too difficult to do, but it can add wonders to the visual interest of the page. It's just a matter of how you put it together and tell the story, right? So also, as I was looking through these images, I was like, again, we've got some high quality art here.
Yeah.
And some good coloring again with that like moody, desaturated color scheme, but still popping. All right, we got some more animated text. I always get a little nervous when I see shots like this because they remind me of who is that cover artist for Punisher who always like would set up his models and then like trace over them with ink. Bradstreet. Tim Bradstreet.
Yeah.
Well, when I see shots like this in one panel, I'm like, this looks like it was drawn over an actor. It could definitely not be, but my first instinct is it is. And then my second question goes, is he going to look like that from panel to panel, or was just this shot, traced well? Right. I'm not saying it was. I'm just saying that's the instinct that I get because there's something about the face that tells you like this is a real person.
Yeah.
And
if you're that good of an artist, you should be doing like something other than comics.
Right.
Fine art studio.
Right. So here we've got some interior panels and
see on that one, go back to that one because this one I was kind of like. I'm kind of like I've got mixed feelings on this because I do like the use of shadows and the light source and all of that as we see it coming in, but it's almost it's
telling us a lot.
Huh?
It's not really telling us a lot of information.
It really isn't, and it almost feels like a wasted panel because from what I'm getting from this is like, okay, who is this? What's going on? Why are we in a gymnasium or a warehouse or there's right. It does nothing. It does nothing. It shows great work, but it does nothing. It's just a film.
Yeah, exactly. So to elaborate on that, like the shots that you have, because you're choosing only a few shots, they should one be high contrast so that our brain can process it really quickly and easily. And so like this last one of him standing, looking down, right? That's high contrast. It's dark on light on dark. Boom, I see it quickly. And even this one, it's a little stagnant. It's like I'm assuming this is the main character that we're talking about, right? But then here, like, this is in the crux of the story, and so like I don't know if this is the good guy or the bad guy, and it's not really telling me any of the information. Like to face an evil that could end us all. Well, is this the evil guy or not? Right?
I mean, it looks like a pay or a scene out of like the old Highlander series, you know, where it's just like all juxtaposition and shadows, and you know, like the stand-in could have just been there. They just needed to like do some B-roll to fill out the full hour. So I mean, it's great page. Don't get me wrong, and I'm sure it's crucial to the story, but to your pitch and to us, again, I think it's a missed opportunity.
Yeah. Now this panel right here, one, it evokes emotion. It's a very fear-based shot, so it's a good one to use. On the other hand, I feel like, I don't know if it's just because it's so commonly used, but like this is another one of those shots where I feel like I've seen this shot before.
The running mascara, the gag, the
do you remember those like pop or pulp ad, art where there's like the screening moment, but it's all in dots, it's on the old dot pattern. I feel like that's where I've seen this before. But it's an effective shot. And then we have this, but again, like I couldn't tell if they were fighting over the stick or what was going on there. So lost my place. There we go. So then we have some action shots. Like that's a great shot to use. High contrast. There's action going on. His baton is bending like a rubber dildo. I know that's supposed to show momentum and action, but I couldn't resist. But yeah, this is an exciting shot, a great one to use. And then we've got this shot on the motorcycle. Again, like it's a great shot, but
I mean, it looks, again, like you said, it looks very traced. It looks like Greg Land. That was the other guy that, would trace over, Vanity Fair magazine covers to create, some of his art. So, I mean, seeing this is what grabbed my attention. And I was like, ooh. And then we cut out. And then we go to that wicked, like, Faust-looking freaking cover that I'm just like, all right. And that got my attention. But again, I think that we're looking at editing being like the overarch of this weekend's message. See, because this, I mean, that's a V-Hill freaking cover right there. That's
together after the fact and scrolling back and forth. I think I've put together that this is the guy in the warehouse. Because I recognize the knife and I recognize the mask. And so it was sort of like teasing and then revealing, I think was the goal. But I don't have enough information yet to like start teasing. So I think just jumping into the shot pretty quickly. But it's great artwork.
I mean, it feels like V-Hill when he was doing Faust, and there was never really any colors. They did colored versions much later in the series when they reissued the story. But I mean, there's some really good artwork, and I really hope he is this good. And it's not,
Well, here, take a look at this. If you see so this text here says, to face an evil that could end us all. And then jump to this.
Yeah.
Like, that's evil. I get it. It looks evil. And then maybe even this one before it or after it, the female shot. And we're in. We know that he's got something to face, and it's bad. I mean, so yeah, I think you're right. I think it's just a little bit of an editing. So the story itself could still be pretty good. Okay, so maybe this is why I know this name, because he says I picked up my first G.I. Joe when I was 7. And this is my story. Like, I mean, not saying he stole it, but this is the same story. Like, I was introduced to comics with G.I. Joe at the local 7-Eleven by my shop, and they got me into comics. So maybe I've talked to this person about that before in a G.I. Joe group or something. Yep. But and also, ironically, now that I think about it, there's a G.I. Joe character named Mercer.
Oh, there is, isn't there?
Almost kind
I
of
forgot
looks
about
like
that.
this guy right here.
Yep.
I actually drawn him a couple times for different things. So here we've got New York City police officer, part of the intelligence division, past 2 years, been searching for the mysterious human trafficker and arms dealer known as the Scorpion. We will learn about his hard moral compass, facing racism, leading conflicts with his fellow officers. Then he's paired with a new partner. Some of this sounds cliche. And then he stumbles into a sinister plot involving a crazed serial killer, occult rituals, and demonic possessions, and an ancient evil that threatens the city. So I think some of this stuff is stuff we'll discover when we read it that doesn't need to like be thrown in here. Conflicts with his fellow officers and added, paired with a new partner, questions, his motives. Like some of that doesn't necessarily need to all be in there, I think.
No.
But
and like I said, there's a lot of wasted space that could have gone to other things.
It's a really beautiful New York shot there.
That is pretty.
So then we got pretty much the same.
This is issue 1?
Apparently.
Okay.
So, yeah, it looks like they got some good stuff going on here. And now we're left with the choice. So before we decide, I do want to give you guys the choice of which is your favorite. So make that note. So out of the 3 that we've looked at, which one do you find the most interesting? Leave your comments below, whether we're on Facebook or on YouTube. And while you're doing that, we can also kind of quickly plug ourselves. My name is Matt Campbell. I am the creator of a comic series called Mythica, and it will be coming out. Issue 9 will be coming out on Kickstarter very soon. It's the sign up, notify me button is already up. We've been approved. We're just making some final adjustments, mostly on the video, as we tend to be talking about. And you can find me at YouTube at Matt Campbell Art, also on Instagram and Facebook at the same, as well as actionlinestudios.com, which is where you can get all the books and art. And also, lastly, to throw us in, if you're keen on enhancing your visual storytelling skills like we've been talking about, or you just want to witness me making Mythica and see updates once a week, or you're interested in accessing some of the exclusive adult content art that I can't share on social media, then you want to join us over on the Action Line Army at Patreon. It's patreon.com/Action Line Studios. There's scrolling across the bottom of the screen. You'll see it there. So also, when we do these events, it's going through the Action Line Studios Facebook page. So we can only invite people to the live events if they're followers of the page. So be sure and go to the Facebook page and hit the follow button so that you can be invited every time we do a live show, and so you don't have to forget. All right. And then Smurf, what do you got going on before we select our finals?
I am Smurf with 5280 Geek, a pop culture fueled website that gives you everything you need in the world of geeky. We have the Moment of Geek. We have my take on different comic books every week that hit the shelves, in addition to my podcast that I break down things that have caught my eye, things I'm watching or reading or anything like that, in addition to just our normal antics from doing cons across the country to local events and just kind of a fun, we're not, keyboard warriors or gatekeepers. We just like to spread the word. That's what we do here.
Exactly. One of our contestants for the week says, thank you guys for the solid, it's not showing. Hold on. There you go. Thank you for the solid critique of my video. Definitely take your criticism to heart for the next one. Hey, you're absolutely welcome. We want to improve everybody's books. Everyone's got a story to tell, and we want you to help you tell the best story possible. Exactly. And so let's, on that note, choose which one. Let's do what we did last week. We'll write it down and hold it up. I feel like you're like ahead of the game. You're like, I'm already done. I'm ready.
Well, while you were talking, I was doing my writing, and then of course, I set a standard of having my self-inspired art to go with, said. I mean, it's obvious I'm a writer, but I mean, and a video performer. I am not an artist. I can appreciate art. I'm very good at that, but creating my own, no. Nope.
I gotta say, this one is gonna be tough.
This one is tough, and I want to say it out of the gate. All right, all three of these Kickstarters are brilliant. All right, all of these are worthy of funding. None of them I would be like, eh. And this is probably the hardest one we've had to do to date. All of the art is solid, and like I said, as far as the last one, the Mercer. Holy God! If this is really his art, he should be in galleries in New York doing major freaking art shows. I mean, this is impressive. So, and like Campbell said, we're here to help critique and build and help you guys elevate your game and help get more creative non-cape stories out there. Let's get the indie comic scene back to what it used to be.
Jason says he's really that good. So
he's really that good. Well, goddamn, Jason, you should be in a gallery in New York. Goddamn, that is impressive.
I think he's talking about his artist. I think I'm not 100%.
I think so, but either way, that's
either way.
Jesus. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And honestly, like a lot of these had really great art, great stories, great video. Like you said, the bar for this show was higher and more closely related than we've ever had to date. So this was a tough one for me, but I did choose one.
All right.
I'm ready to go whenever you are.
All right. And 3.
Oh, wait. Let me put this on a screen they can see it better.
There we go.
Okay. There we go. All right, ready?
Yep.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Oh, we got the same one.
See, this is my totem.
I
have no idea what it is, but it's kind of like a take on the Atari symbol, and some planets, because I'm a Time Lord.
Oh man!
and again, this was not easy. The overlying message on this episode is editing. Editing is key. How do you relay it? The branding and all of that is crucial to, I think, a successful campaign. All three of these, again, are glorious. But I'm very curious about the totem. I really, really want to be in there. What is?
Somebody said, "Dang it, I'm late." Hi, Matt. I gotta say, I do want to give the reason why I chose the one I did, and honestly, it comes down to this one gave me the most emotional connection.
Mm-hmm.
When I looked at all these, they all had great art, and then they all gave me a pretty good idea of the situation and the premise. In the first one, we had a character who needed money, but I didn't really know why that well. I didn't really know, what the big struggle was going to be. Like, it was a contest. He doesn't want to fight, but are there awesome people who can fight? I really don't know what's in there. And then kind of the same thing with the last one. Like, I got the premise and the police officer coming across a bad thing, but a police officer or detective hunting down a bad guy is like, that's what they do. It's kind of like saying a pirate who seeks treasure, right? Like that's kind of what they do. So I'm not really that invested yet emotionally. But Call the Totem gave me something farther by introducing the father and the connection. And that line, even though it happened later on in the video that said, "They will not take my son," I think that did it for me. I was like, that's an emotional connection. And, combined with the fact that it had really, great art and stuff. So let that, take that as you will. I think this is going to be, a tough one, but thank you guys for checking it out. And Smurf, what were your thoughts on why you chose the one you did?
I mean, like you said, the totem, I think with the editing aside, like you said, the tagline was great. I loved the art, that page, the action page with the lighting source, and there's so many things done so well that I'm captivated. I want to know more. And granted, the Mercer art is just as gorgeous, but we get to the subject a little too late for me. And if we're dealing with satanic forces, we really don't see that till the end. And if we started out with that, maybe my opinion would have changed. But again, this is no easy decision. But the totem, again, with the father and the son connection, and just there seems to be a bit more lore and mystery and just mysticism, that I really kind of, all right, I got you. And like you said, that tagline, I would in fact, I would almost make that like the banner for your campaign and for your ongoing stories. They will not take my son. And that, I think, it's got some gravitas to it.
Jason says, thank you guys for the considerations. My first Kickstarter, it's not up from here. I think it's all up from here, to be honest to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you've already got that much going for you on your first campaign,
this is impressive for a first campaign.
I totally agree. agree. So,
wow.
What I think, again, I mentioned earlier, I think what your real goal is going to be is to build an audience and keep contact with those audiences through like an email list, and build and it'll go well for you. I think you got something good there. All right. Anything else you want to add?
I think that's it. Good luck. I look forward to seeing more from Mercer. I mean, I would even create my own group called, the Detective Squad or the Station, or just something like that. Get
the Mercenaries.
Yeah.
The Mercenaries.
Oh. When did you start doing dad jokes? Oh.
I am going to turn 50 this year, so I think it's just inherently built into, all of us.
Wow. And on that bombshell, we shall say goodbye. Please submit your ideas, your Kickstarters to the link below. We will look at them again next Friday, where Matt and myself will give you the best inputs and our reactions as they form right here in front of you.
Right here, live. All right. Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Have a great afternoon and a great weekend. We'll see you next Friday.
Run fast, laugh hard, and always be kind. Good night.